In this video, we will be building a React portfolio website for Kevin Rush, who is a full-stack developer. This site will have a navbar with a logo on the left side and a few icons on the right. This is followed by a hero section which has a name displayed using a large font size. Below this, you have a beautiful gradient text which says full-stack developer followed by some description. On the right side, you see the image of the person which I have downloaded from unsplash.com. The text and image is animated using Frame Motion library. This is followed by a about section which contains another image on the left and some information on the right. Next is the technology section which shows all the technology stack Kevin uses and is familiar with. You can also see the icons are animated and moving up and down with different duration. Next is the work experience section. This contains the organization in which Kevin has worked, the role in that company, and the year active. We can also see the technologies Kevin has used in each organization, followed by all the highlighted projects with image and some information on the right. Last is the contact section with address, phone number, and the email address. All this is responsive, so let's write some code. We'll start by creating a new folder on the desktop. I'll name it React Portfolio. Let's open the Visual Studio Code and drag this folder into it. Open a new terminal in VS Code and let's head over to the Tailwind CSS website and click on the Get Started button. In quick search box, type Vite and click on the Install Tailwind with Vite link. We'll copy the command to install React application and paste it in the terminal. Change the My Project to the current folder and hit enter. This will create the necessary files and folders. Let's run the npm install command. Once this is done, install Tailwind. Copy the init command to generate Tailwind and post CSS config files. We'll copy the template path and head over to tailwind.config.js file and replace it with the copied code. Next, let's add the Tailwind directives in the index.css file. I'll remove the entire code here and paste the directives. Additionally, let's delete the app.css file since we won't be needing it. To check if everything is working fine, I'll copy the HTML code with Tailwind CSS classes and head over to the app.jsx file. Let's delete all the default code in the app.jsx and rewrite it. I'm using the ES7 React Snippet extension. If you don't have it installed, you can search for ES7 plus React Snippet and install it. Let's paste the code here. I'll save the file and run the server by typing npm run dev. We can see our changes are applied, which confirms that we have configured the Tailwind CSS with our React app. All the assets that you see on the page can be downloaded from the GitHub link provided in the description. Once you download the code, copy and replace the assets folder in your project source folder. For icons, we'll be using React icons. So let's install this package. Also, to make things easy, I've created a constants folder where I have declared variables to store the text content that you see on the page. If you open the index.js file under constants folder, you will see variables like, for example, work experience, projects, and so on. This will help us avoid typing all the text that you see on the page. So let's also copy this folder in the source directory. And with this, we are ready to start coding. We'll be using Inter font for this project, so let's import it. So the first thing we are going to work on is the navbar. Navbar will be a component, and I want to place all my components under a folder in the source directory. Let's create this folder with the name components. Within this folder, I'll create a new file called navbar.jsx. I'll use the RAFCE snippet to create the function. Okay, so let's import this file in our app.jsx file. Let's look at the navbar that we are going to build. On the right side, we have the logo, and on the left, we have the icons. I'll declare a nav tag with class margin bottom 20, flex, item center, justify between, and padding on Y6. Inside this, a div with class flex, flex string 0, and item center. I'll add the image tag for logo. Let's import the image. Name will be Kevin Rush logo.png. The logo is not visible because it is white. I'll add a background for now. Okay, so the logo is visible. Let's import the icons. First will be the LinkedIn icon. I'll be adding a few more, so let's copy paste this code a few times. Next icon is GitHub. New Twitter X icon. And Instagram icon. Let's display the icons. Let's also add the classes margin 8, flex, item center, justify center, gap 4, and text to Excel. So the icons are showing up. Now if you look at the final version, the site has a beautiful black color background with a radial blur that is fixed. For this, I have used a Tailwind background snippet from the website iblick.com. I'll add the link in the description. This website has a collection of background snippets that you can simply copy and paste in your application. The one that I'll be using is this black background snippet. So I'll copy the code from here and paste it into the app.jsx file. Change the name to class name. So we have the background visible on our page. Also, I'll remove the red background since we don't require it anymore. So this is already looking good. Let's add some styling to this div. Overflow X hidden. Text color to neutral 300. Font anti-aliased. I want the selection property to be of color cyan 300 and the text color during selection to be cyan 900. Let's correct this. Okay, so the icons are now visible as per the design. And with this selection property, you will be able to see the cyan color when selecting the text. I want the radial blur to be fixed, so let's wrap it in a div. The remaining content should be a div with class container, MX Auto, and padding on y-axis 8. Let's copy the navbar and paste it inside the div. So now you can see the icons aligned properly with this change. Let's also look at the mobile view. Our logo is bigger when compared to the final version. Let's style the image. Class will be margin on X2 and width of 10. Okay, so with this we have our navbar ready. Next is the hero section where we have a few text on the left side and an image on the right. We can also see the animation when the content is loading. We'll look at how to animate the website using frame of motion later in this video. Let's start by creating a new file, hero.jsx. I'll have a div with class border bottom, border color neutral 900, padding bottom 4, and on large screen, margin bottom 36. Inside this, a div with class flex and flex wrap, class width full, and on large screen width 1/2. For all the text, I'll have a div with class flex, flex column, item center, and on large devices, item start. Inside this will be h1 tag that will hold the name. Let's import the component in the app.jsx. You can now see the name on the screen. We need to style the h1 tag. Class padding bottom 16, text 6XL, font thin, tracking tight. On large device, margin top 16, and on large device, text 8XL. Okay, so this now matches the final version. Next will be a span with class background gradient to right. From pink 300 via slate 500 to purple 500. Background clip text, text 4XL, tracking tight, and text transparent. So we now have a beautiful gradient text which says full stack developer. Let's also add the paragraph. This will come from the constant index file. Okay, so we have the paragraph which needs styling. Margin on y-axis 2, max width XL, padding on y-axis 6, font light, and tracking tighter. Okay, so this looks better. And this is also matching the final version. Let's also include the image on the right. We'll import the image first. Let's declare a div with class width full on large screen with 1/2 and padding of 8. Inside this, another div with class flex and justify center. This will contain the image tag with source profile pic. And you can see the image is now visible on the screen. Next section will be the About section. This section will contain a header, image on the left, and a paragraph on the right. Let's create a new file under the Components folder and name it about.jsx. Let's include it in the app.jsx file. Let's add the class border bottom, border color neutral 900, and padding bottom of 4. Inside this, we'll have a h2 tag about me with class margin on y-axis 20, text center, and text 4XL. The background is not applied to the About section. The gradient div should be inside the fixed div. Still there is an issue. Oh, I've misspelled fixed. This is better. The final version has a different color to the me text. For this, add the span with color neutral 500. Below this will be a div with class flex and flex wrap. Inside this, a div with class widthful. On large device width 1/2 and padding of 8. For image, we'll have a div with class flex, item center, and justify center. We'll have image tag here with source from assets. Let's also import the image. So the image is appearing on the screen. The final version has a rounded corner, so let's add it. This looks better. Now, let's add the paragraph on the right. For this, I'll have a div with class widthful and on large screen width 1/2. Inside this, a div with class flex, justify center, and large screen justify start. Inside this will be a paragraph tag. The const name is about_text. The paragraph is below the image, but I want it to be on the right side. This div should be outside. Okay, so the paragraph is placed on the right but needs some styling. This will be class margin on y-axis 2, max width XL, and padding on the y-axis 6. This looks much better. So the next section is the technology section, where we will display all the technology stacks developer works on. Let's create a new file under components folder and name it technologies.jsx. Import the component in the app.jsx file. Let's have a class with border bottom. Border color neutral 800. And padding bottom 24. H2 tag with class margin on y-axis 20. Text center and text 4XL. Okay, you can see the text. Next, let's have a div with class flex, flex wrap, item center, justify center, and gap 4. Inside this, let's declare a div with class rounded 2XL, border 4, border color neutral 800, and padding of 4. Let's also import the icons we will be using, starting with the React icon. Let's use this component and display it on the screen. Now, we can see the border and the icon. Next step is to style them. Class will be text 7XL, color cyan 400. Okay, this looks fine. We have a few more icons after this. So let's copy and paste this div a few times. I'll also copy and paste the import line a few times. Second icon will be Next.js icon. Followed by MongoDB. After this, the Redis icon. Next, Node.js icon. Also, we need another import for Postgres. Let's change the component names. Second is the Next.js icon. MongoDB. Redis. Node.js. We need a div for Postgres. Also, let's change the name to use Postgres. Okay, so with this, we have all the icons visible, but they have the same color. If you see the final version, every icon has a different color. So let's make the necessary changes. This will have a default color, so let's remove the cyan color. Mongo will have green 500. Redis will get the color red 700. Node will have green 500. And Postgres will have the color sky 700. So we can see all the icons are looking great. I think it is also a good time to check how responsive your code is. Let me adjust this. Yeah, I think everything is looking good. So we can move to the next section. The next section will display Kevin's work experience. On the right side, we are displaying the years from when Kevin has worked in a particular organization. And on the left side, we see information like his role in the organization, followed by company name. Below it, we have the job description, followed by tags, which will display the technology stack that Kevin worked on in that company. With this information, let's create a new file and name it experience.jsx. Let's include it in the app.jsx file. I'll add class border bottom, border color neutral 900, and padding bottom of 4. Inside this h2 tag with class margin on y-axis 20, text center, and text 4XL. To display the content in this section, we'll use the constants file, where we have an experience array with year, role, company, and other informations. Within a div, let's loop through the experience array using the map method. Declare a div with key. Class margin bottom 8. Flex. Flex wrap. And on large devices, justify center. Inside this, we'll have a div with class width full, and on large devices, class width 1/4. Let's display the experience here. We can see all the experience here is getting displayed. Now let's style this using class margin bottom 2, text small, and text color neutral 400. For job details, we'll have a div with full width on small screen, max width of Excel, and on large screen width 3/4. Inside we'll have H6 tag with class margin bottom 2 and font semi-bold. Text will be experience.role. This will be followed by company name, which is in light purple color. I'll add a span. Inside this will be experience.company. Let's apply class text small and text purple 100. After this, we'll have the job description. I'll add a paragraph with experience.description. Let's also style the paragraph. Margin bottom 4 and text neutral 400. After the description, let's also add the tags that you see in the final version. All the tags are available in the technologies array. Let's loop through technologies using the map method. I'll add a span with key index. This will be tech. Okay, all the text tags are showing up. Next step will be to style them. Class margin right 2, margin top 4, rounded, background neutral 900, padding on x-axis 2, padding on y-axis 1, text small, font medium, and text purple 800. Okay, this is looking good. Let's also check the mobile version. Looks like everything is aligned properly on the small screen. The next section will display Kevin's projects. On the left side, we are displaying image of the product. And on the right side, we see information about the project, like project name, descriptions, and technologies used for the project. With this information, let's create a new file and name it projects.jsx. Let's include it in the app.jsx file. I'll add the class border bottom, border color neutral 900, and padding bottom of 4. Inside this h2 tag with class margin on y-axis 20, text center, and text 4xl. To display the content in this section, we'll use the constants file where we have a projects array with title, image, description, and text tags. Within a div, let's loop through the projects array using the map method. Declare a div with key. Inside this will be an image with source project.image. Okay, all the images are showing up. Let's add a class margin bottom 8, flex wrap, and on large devices justify center. Inside this we'll have a div with class width full, and on large devices class width 1/4. Image width and height will be 150. Let's also add class margin bottom 6 and rounded. For project details, we'll have a div with full width on small screen, max width of Excel, and on large screen width 3/4. Inside this will have h6 tag. Text will be project.title. Followed by project description. Let's also style them. Class margin bottom 2 and font semi-bold. For description, class margin bottom 4 and text neutral 400. After the description, let's also add the tags that you see in the final version. All the tags are available in the technologies array. Let's loop through technologies using the map method. I'll add a span with key index. This will be text. Okay, all the text tags are showing up. Next step will be to style them. Class margin right 2, rounded, background neutral 900. Padding on x-axis 2, padding on y-axis 1, text small, font medium, and text purple 900. Okay, this is looking good. Let's also check the mobile version. Looks like everything is aligned properly on the small screen. Last section will be contact section. This section will contain the address, mobile number, and email address. Let's create a new file in the components folder and name it contact.jsx. I'll add class border bottom, border color neutral 900, and padding bottom of 20. Inside this, a h2 tag with class margin on y-axis 10, text center, and text 4xl. Text will say get in touch. Let's add this component in the app.jsx. Below this, I'll have a div with text center and tracking title, a paragraph tag, with class margin on y-axis 4. Let's check the constants file. This will be contact.address. Another paragraph. This will be contact.phone number. We'll have an anchor tag for email address. Final version contains an underline for email address. So let's add that. This is looking good. Let's also check the mobile view real quick. I think we can reduce the text size of gradient text to make it look better. I'll change this to 3XL. Perfect. This is looking better. Okay, so with this, we have finished the layout of the entire site. The only thing pending now is the animation part, which we will take up next. For animation, we'll be using the frame of motion library for React. To add the animation, we make use of the motion component and prefix it with any HTML tag. For the animation you see on the final version, we'll be making use of the x-axis and y-axis to add animation to move the elements right, left, top, and bottom. For example, in the hero section, you can see the text is animating from left to right, whereas image is animating from right to left. Let's install the library in our project and import it. Let's open the terminal and install the package. I'll also paste the import line. Let's test if library is working fine in our project. For this, I'll copy this animate code. Add motion before the h1 tag and paste the animate code. Once we refresh, we can see the text animating. Let's also check another example. Add motion to the span and paste the code here. You can see the span is now animating. You can also drag the text. Okay, so with this, we are ready to animate the website. So the first component to animate will be the hero section. So let's look at how to animate it. Let's first remove the code that we used to test the frame of motion. For H1, let's add an initial value of x minus 100 and opacity 0. Animate value of x 0 and opacity 1. Transition with duration 0.5. And delay of 0.5. Let's refresh the page. It is not the same as the final version. Let's reduce the delay to 0. This is better. Let's increase the delay. So you can see it is taking more time to animate. This is how we'll animate all the text on the right with different values for delay. For this, I'll add a function called container that will take delay parameter. Initial value will be hidden with x minus 100 and opacity 0. Animate value will be visible with x 0, opacity 1, transition with duration 0.5, and delay with value delay. For the H1 tag, let's add variants. Container 0, where 0 is the delay. Initial value hidden. Animate is equal to visible. Looks like there is a problem with the code. Opacity is misspelled. Okay, so this is working fine. Let's copy paste this code to span and the paragraph. Once you refresh page, you can see all the elements are animating. But if you see the final version, you can see the pattern is different. For the same behavior, we'll need to add a delay. I'll change this to 0.5 and this to 1. Okay, so we can see the animation now matching the final version. Next step will be to animate the image. Add motion to image tag. Initial value will be x 100. Opacity 0. Animate will be x 0 and opacity 1. Transition duration 1 and delay 1.2. With this, we have the hero section ready. Next is the about section. In this section, we have an image that slides from the left and a paragraph text that slides from the right. Both the animations should happen when the user scrolls and when the content is visible. In the About component, let's import the frame of motion library. First will be the image, so let's add motion to the div containing the image tag. When the content is visible, we'll use the while in view. Opacity 1, x0, initial value, opacity 0, x minus 100, transition, duration 0.5. Okay, so the image is animating. Next is the paragraph. So let's add motion to the div containing the paragraph. While in view, opacity 1, x0, initial, opacity 0, x100. Okay, so the paragraph is animated but not in sync. I'll add the duration of 0.5. This is better. Next is the technology section. In this section, the heading is animated and also the boxes containing the icons. If you see the icons closely, you can see all the elements are animated and are moving up and down with different duration. Also, the movement is infinite. Let's navigate to the technologies file. Import the frame of motion library. In this case, let's have a function that takes a duration parameter. Initial value will be y minus 10. For animate, y 10, comma minus 10. Transition, duration is duration parameter. Is linear. Repeat infinity. Repeat type reverse. Let's prefix motion to the div. Variants, icon variations with 2.4 duration. Initial value is initial. And animate is equal to animate. Okay, now you can see the first icon is animated and this will be infinite. Similarly, let's make changes to the remaining divs with different durations. The second icon is also animated. Okay, now you can see all the elements are animated. Now if you see the final version, you can see the icons are sliding from left to right on the initial load. Let's also add this animation. opacity 1, x 0, initial, opacity 0, x minus 100, transition duration 1.5. Okay, this is better. Let's also animate the header tag. While in view, opacity 1, y0, initial, opacity 0, y minus 100. Transition duration 1.5. With this, we have finished this section. In this section, we have the header sliding from the top, year from the left, and job details content from the right. Let's open the experience component file. Import motion from frame of motion. Prefix motion to heading tag. While in view, opacity 1, y0, initial, opacity 0, y minus 100. Transition duration 0.5. There is an error. Let me remove this and add motion. It's working. Next is the year section. While in view, opacity 1, x0, initial, opacity 0, x minus 100, transition duration 1, this is looking good. Next is the job details section. While in view, opacity 1, x0, initial, opacity 0, x100, transition duration 1, okay, so this is looking nice. Similarly, let's also animate the project section. Open the projects.jsx file. Import motion from frame of motion. Prefix motion to header tag. While in view, opacity 1, y0, initial, opacity 0, y minus 100, Transition duration 0.5. Okay, so next will be the images. While in view, opacity 1, x0, initial, opacity 0, x minus 100, transition duration 0.5. Almost there. Let's change the duration. This is better. Next will be the content on the right. While in view, opacity 1, x0, initial, opacity 0, x100, transition duration 1. Okay, so the project section is looking great. Last section is the contact section. Let's open the contact.jsx file. Import motion from Framer Motion. Animate the header. While in view, opacity 1, y0, initial, opacity 0, y minus 100, transition duration 0.5. Next will be address. While in view, opacity 1, x0, initial, opacity 0, x minus 100. Let's add transition. Duration 1, I'll copy this. Add motion. Paste it here. Change it to 100. Okay, with this we have finished animating entire site using Framer Motion. Let's also check the mobile view. For deployment, we'll be making use of the Vercel, which is the popular choice when deploying React.js and Next.js applications. And if you check the pricing, Vercel has a free tier which allows you to deploy applications like the one we have built. So if you don't have an account, you can sign up for the free tier or the other options that suits your need. Before deploying the code on Vercel, we need to create a GitHub repository and push our code. So let's create a new repository on the GitHub. I'll name the repository as React Portfolio and click on the Create Repository button. Okay, so let's commit our code and push the code to GitHub. Go to the terminal and git init to initialize the Git repository. Add all the changes and commit the code. Let's paste the git remote add origin command in the terminal and hit enter. I'll also copy the git branch main command. Let's also push our code to the origin. Okay, so with this, our code is now available on GitHub, and we can use the Vercel to deploy this code. Now on the Vercel website, click on the Add New Project link. This will list all the repositories. I want to deploy the latest repository, so I'll click the Import button besides it. I'll keep all the default options here and press the Deploy button. This will take some time to deploy the project. Once done, you will see the congratulations message, which means your project is deployed successfully on Vercel. If you click the image below, it will take you to the website. As you can see, our React app is now available on the web. I hope you have enjoyed watching this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell icon for more exciting videos. Take care.